Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. I hope all of you are having a great day so far. I know it's hard to shake it off the long weekend, but welcome into the Computer America Show. And we have a great show lined up for you today because, that's right, we have a company on called Omni Wearables. And, this is... to tie it in with one of our other, with one of our regulars here on the show, Mr. Steve Stockman, writes a book, How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck. One of his biggest tips in life is the best camera is the one that you have on you. It's great to have, those multi-$1,000 video cameras and still frame cameras and what have you, but the camera that you can take with you and that you're going to have available is going to be the best camera really the best camera available to you is the one that you actually have available to you. So that bit of advice comes in handy here because with Omni Wearables, we have the founder and CEO here to talk about their camera that fits in sunglasses. And these things are really, really awesome. You can check them out. We have a link in the show notes. But we're going to be talking all about the product, why he made it, and who's it for, and just how good it is. A product that, again, just fits on your face. Does not even need anything else. So, what? All right, so, just 1 second. So, and so we'll be starting all of that here in just a moment. But, as I wanted to mention, of course, that a few things here, computeramerica.com, that is the most important thing because we have show notes, we have links to any guests, any articles that we do, any videos, anything like that. You can check them all there at computeramerica.com. Also, while you're there, be sure to check out the live video stream because not only can you listen to Computer America, but you can watch Computer America as well. And the last thing is... check out the contest. That's we've changed to the 5-week format, but we have 5 winners. So we're going to be choosing a winner every single week, and thousands of you have already entered, and we thank you so much for the support. But we're looking for thousands more. And hey, you could win a great prize from your friends over at Logitech. That's right, we're giving away the M720 trial-flying mouse. It's a lot of fun, and hey, we could be calling your name on the air this Friday. So, I think with all of that said, we are going to jump right into it. And once again, let me get all of this out right. And we have on the show Mr. Robert Fuziak. And Bob is the founder and CEO of a company called Omni Wearables. And to tell us about the company, why he started it, and what got him interested in, let's face it, not even standalone cameras, but cameras that serve the same function, but in a different format. But here to explain all of that is, of course, Bob. So, Bob, thank you so much for joining us here on Computer America.
Oh, thanks for your time today, Ben, and thanks for the opportunity. And hey, everybody out there in Computer America.
And I'm sure they'll say thank you as well. And again, just to be clear, in the show notes, we have a link to Omni Wearables and to the Kickstarter. So, we're going to be talking about your Kickstarter a little as well here in a moment. But before we do that, why don't we just jump into, kind of the company behind it, and what is your background, what is Hindsight Industries for anyone out there who may be curious. How did you get started in making something like, Face Shot here?
It's kind of a lengthy tale, but, I'm not an engineer by trade. I grew up wanting to be a naval aviator, and my left eye was too bad to fly. So, life takes you on different courses. I've been out in Jackson, Wyoming for a number of years, and I actually got my career in the brewing business. So we were making some delicious products out here in the mountains, and but I've always been a tinkerer. So I almost was hit by a vehicle while I was riding my bike, and I thought of a way to integrate flip-out mirrors into the sunglasses to try and increase safety. And I ended up getting a patent for that. And this is while I'm, having my my other career. And I kind of analyzed that this pivoting system might be useful for other applications, near-eye displays and cameras and such. So it actually, the Omni Wearable and the face shot camera glasses actually just kind of spun off of a safety product application there. And I'm self-taught in SolidWorks, which is a CAD program. I use some 3D Systems 3D printers, and for the past few years, I've been all in and doing this full time. So we started with trying to get some funding from the SBIR, Small Business Innovation Research Grant program, and we were working on some night vision near-eye displays and some smart safety glasses, and it was just we had some state level funding, but we never were funded on the federal level. So over the past couple of years, we kind of just said, hey, what can we do with this pivoting component eyewear system? Like, what's the best application for it? And so we're like, well, the action sports market, you're usually wearing your sunglasses when you're out. In our case, up here in Jackson, we're biking and fishing and climbing and hiking around in the Tetons. And so if you have those glasses on you, let's just put some flip-out cameras. And that's just, probably the easiest way to describe it. It's just if you're already going to be wearing eye protection, then why not just be able to flick out that camera on the go?
Right, and I think the product there that you were just getting into describing now, just to kind of get this Russian nesting of companies. Hindsight is is kind of like the founding company, and then Omni Wearable is a division of that, and then the product, at least your first product that I'm really seeing here from Omni Wearable, being face shot. So I think you laid it out really well. Why not integrate some of this technology? Because there have been solutions for what you're trying to offer here, and we've had them on the show before, and they have your standards, GoPros. A lot of different companies have their own products that you strap to your chest in some kind of weird harness, or you strap onto your helmet and something with the like. But I mean, why do you think people, why do people kind of turn to something like face shot? Is it just kind of more convenient, or is it because it's eye level, it's getting a more true representation of how you're experiencing it? Or I mean, what do you think you do better than some of the other body cameras out there on the market?
That's a great question. Traditionally, GoPro's kind of got the, that's the best brand recognized for action sports cams, and they're great for those instances where you're going to want to record some moments, and then you rig up that camera in advance. But there's an issue with capturing those spontaneous moments that you were kind of talking about earlier, and our tagline is "Life happens in an instant, don't miss it." So if you spend a lot of time out and about in the mountains or other places, not every day is going to be the moment that you're going to say, oh, I want to go pro today, right? But there's days where something cool happens. There's a moose on the trail, or a bear, or something, a child takes their first steps, or something that you would really wish you had a camera for, but you just weren't prepared for. So by putting it into the glasses, you always have it available. There have been companies that have had cameras in the center of the bridge of the glass, like Pivot Head. They make a camera glass, and then the newest is probably Snapchat's spectacles that have the camera to the left side of your eye, and those are all fine for capturing your moments, but there's a problem that kind of goes back to, say, Google Glass, where people were concerned about invasion of privacy. So if you wear that pair of glasses and you're doing something fun outside, but then say you want to grab some lunch at a cafe, and then everybody has cameras aimed at them, right? So I was like, hey, can you get that camera off me? So the second that you have to take the glasses off in order to provide, a non-creepy factor there, you've eliminated the whole purpose for wearing your glasses to begin with, which is to either A, correct your vision, or B, protect your eyes from the sun or debris. So, those other products really don't work as glasses in all situations for courtesy and the privacy issue. Also, kind of looking at that GoPro, if you've ever used one, you can look at now you can check it out on your phone to make sure it's recording, but you also can hit that button and be like, hey, is my light on? Well, that lack of certainty in the recording, whether it's on or off, it doesn't really work well if, say, you have a fish on your line and you set the hook. Are you going to now press the GoPro button, or in our case, you just flick that camera out? Mountain biking's my big thing in the summer, and if you're going downhill, you have your the ability to flick that camera out on the fly. And we actually used a left-sided camera for our first product because for mountain biking, your back brake is your right brake. So we didn't want people to flip out the camera with their right hand and only have the front brake available with their left hand and maybe endo. And then, conversely, if you're fishing, most people are right-handed. So if you're going to set that hook, you probably have the fish in the rod in your right hand initially. Right. And then you can flick that camera out when the fish is on. And there's a couple of more, but there's a number of reasons why we think this is going to be a superior design.
No, it definitely sounds like a lot of work and a lot of energy went into this. And obviously for someone like you, who and we see it all the time here on the show, that thanks to services such as Kickstarter or GoFundMe or GoGo or what have you, although more the two aimed at businesses, but it's backgrounds that don't always have computer science degrees from MIT and blah blah blah. It's just someone with a good idea and a lot of thought put into it, and they come out with something really nice. So why don't you talk about maybe I've mentioned a couple times here Kickstarter. If I'm reading this correctly, I think you have about 2.5 days left on your Kickstarter. So hopefully we can give you a little bit of a bump. But I'm happy to see that you have already met your funding goal of $50,000. So congratulations. Looks like this is going to be, at least you're going to get things started, of course. So how has the entire process of, being on Kickstarter and launching a product with a community that's very, very vocal? That's one thing that everyone always talks about. How has Kickstarter kind of gone for Face Shot?
Well, it's gone, really well since we've, we're able to achieve our funding goal. We've gotten a tremendous amount of, for in my mind, it's a tremendous amount of press from different media outlets that have written us up and have been able to do some segments on us. Was just on the phone with Bell Media, and the Discovery Channel did a segment on us for the Daily Planet, and they're going to be kind enough to give us a little piece of that we can put up on our social media, and maybe do one last update for the Kickstarter campaign to get people stoked on it. But we've been able to generate a lot of buzz about the product, and it's just great to get the Kickstarter community involved and to share the project and bring it to life, since it's been until last year it was just a maker project with 3D print technology and buying the cheapest existing little keychain video cameras I could find off of Amazon.com and breaking the housings apart and then redesigning to fit the glasses. And last year we were able to contract some engineering firm, USA Firmware, in Ohio, and to be able to have our own custom cameras made from the ground up. So it's great to then take that next step to be able to produce the glasses. So
right, yeah, and I will say that for a company, I assume I've not seen your books, but I assume that you do not have the funding that Google has. but your product, for being somewhat reminiscent of course, Google Glass, although, this is not augmented reality, to be clear, simply recording video. You have definitely gone to make this stylish. So, if you could touch lightly on the design of this. I mean, are these polarized sunglasses? Are the sunglasses the camera's important, and we're going to get into those specs, but these things are, for 95% of the time that you're not shooting video, these things are just going to be sunglasses. How much, what were the design inspirations behind the sunglasses?
Yeah, we actually are working with Smart Shape Design. They're another company in Ohio. And we've taken my 3D printed, self-taught CAD stuff that was wearable and functional for proof of concept prototypes, but you can't you can't manufacture at scale maybe necessarily my design, since I don't have the mechanical engineering background for that. So we've once again gone with a professional company in order to ensure that can happen. And so we iterated back and forth with what I wanted in the design, and then I would, a lot of times I would either sketch over top of CAD, or I would get into SolidWorks and just kind of, set up a plane and cut some stuff out and then sculpt it and make it look more like what I envisioned. And we kind of went with, the sides are a bit thicker and they have more of a sport arm to them, but we kind of went with more of a old school Wayfarer sort of look for the lenses and one of the frames. And one of the reasons we went with something more traditional like that, it's in eyewear you have a 4-base or a 6-base or an 8-base curve, and that deals with the radius and the amount of wrap that are in glasses. And so we wanted to make sure that our first product was RX, prescription compatible. So we went with a low wrap and more of a traditional style frame as our basis for our first launch product. And we intend to have a number of different designs, and we have some concept art on our website at omniwearables.com, and on our Facebook page too. There's a concept art that we're kind of moving towards too. So we want to have a whole line of designs, not just the one, but that's how we got to the first one.
Right. No, and of course, as time goes on and this product proves to be successful, the next part, I'm sure, is miniaturization, where you make everything more compact and smaller and tighter to the frame. So, obviously, the first generation, it's looks a little bulky, but at the same time, they don't look bad. I've seen many a friend, I'm not a huge fisherman, but I've seen many a friend wear glasses such as these, going fishing. Like, the style is very, very nice. So, but to get to the meat of it, and again, because we do like being technology, the camera. And the camera is, of course, very important, because there's a lot of different specs that I think people can, there's a lot of variability when it comes to hardware. So if you could talk about the camera, the video, and the picture taking, and also kind of how it all works. Like, is this an app? Is this voice controlled? Do you have to shout out, take a picture, or something like that? I mean, what is the quality, and how do you control it?
So yeah, it's a great question. So we really went with at how simple can we make the design. Once again, if you have buttons to do certain functions, it's like, did you hit the button the right amount of times, or did you press it all the way? So did that actually activate? So we're using a Hall effect sensor similar to a flip phone that would allow. We don't use flip phones very often, but when you flip the flip phone out, that screen comes on, right? It was the best device for years until the iPhone came along. So it's a proven technology. So instead of having a screen turn on when the camera flips open, we simply have the camera begin recording as soon as it flips open. So it really happens within a second. It's about as instantaneous as you can get. And we don't have a still camera feature on our current printed circuit board. Now, it supports a still camera function. It's just that would be another button and another interface in order to have that happen. So right now you have to crop, like screenshot or crop a still out of your video feed, and you can see on omniwearable.com there's a still section I just put at the end there that's got some still images. So we're using an OmniVision 1080p image sensor that's 120-degree field of view, and it's designed to make very precise images that don't have any blur. So those stills, even though they were taken during snowboarding, biking, and driving in vehicles, are you can see they're pretty crisp. So we anticipate in future versions having still camera functionality. However, we don't at this point. So we're recording to a micro SD card that supports up to 32 gigabytes. It's micro HD. I'm sorry, micro SDHC, not XC. It's so the 32 gigabytes is the maximum capacity for that card. The XC has a different voltage, and those are the cards that can go much higher. However, if you think about the use case for the face shot, it's not going to replace a movie camera, and it's not necessarily intended to replace your GoPro if you know that you're going to GoPro that day. It's just meant to record high quality images in any situation where you wear your sunglasses. So you're only going to capture the best stuff rather than having to sift through your video and say, oh, at minute 57 is when that cool thing happened. It's you flick the camera out, you dock the camera back, you record that moment, you flick the camera out and you dock it back, so on. So you literally have like a self-editing mechanism because you're only left with the goods when you're done with your day's events. So
and
we've got
just real quick for anyone out there watching the video stream, we just checked out the video of I'm sure if it's you or someone else, but just having a nice as you write here Saturday morning kind of ride down the mountain with snowboarding, and the images look very, very stable. I mean, there's a little bit of jitter, but your whole body's shaking, so why wouldn't there be? But the pictures are. I'm really glad that you went with 1080p, not 720, because I've seen so many hardware companies. I think it's probably cheaper. I think is the main reason that they can get away with 720p and still call it high definition. But I really like the fact that you went with 1080p, and the video and the pictures really do look gorgeous.
Well, thank you. We went with 1080p 30. The processor will support 1080p 60. However, we were looking at battery life, and that being a main concern with the amount of data that you're generating by having double the frame rate capture. So we're getting close to 2 hours of battery, and we're recording about 6 gigabytes per hour. So at that 32 gigabytes, you're getting 5 hours, and that's once again 5 hours per flash card, not 5 hours of battery life. But you're getting over double the battery life, and it's only the goods. It's not just recording for you had to turn it on to make sure it was on sake. So, and there is the one toggle switch on there does do 720p at 60 frames per second, and we're not really like trying to say, hey, it does 720p, because just as you said, it's not true HD. But our target market is looking at sharing on phones and tablets,
Right.
where almost everybody's mobile. So at those smaller screens, that 720p resolution looks good, and that 60 frames a second, we're kind of looking towards skateboarding or something that you might want to just be able to play back at a little bit slower frame rate to get a trick that you can't really see with the naked eye, to play that back a little bit slower to give it a little bit of a slow motion effect. So, and ultimately in future iterations, it would be 1080p 30 and 1080p 60. But right now we're just scrapping to get her off the ground, and doing all that we can here in Jackson with our group of makers and kind of hackers, and then bringing this to market through the expertise of these other contracted firms. So.
Right. Well, and to talk more about obviously, looking at your pictures here, you and your community have really been using it for obviously sports, biking, snowboarding, hiking, things like that. It makes perfect sense. Although I see someone recording their commute, because that is the most exciting part of everyone's day. But if you could talk about some of the other use cases that you could think about, because I mean, just off the top of my head, I mean, fishing and sports like that, that's great, but I could think for, kind of workplace conditions where you have to, maybe you're out in the field and you have to make reports. You could just flip this thing out and you could actually videotape, for the people back at the office what you're actually seeing. Like there are other use cases. Any that kind of stick out in your mind or that your community has really taken a liking to?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said back in a couple of years ago, I was really focused on trying to do something that was more technologically ambitious by having near eye displays and IR. What I really wanted to do was kind of use a FLIR lepton sensor, which is, if you've ever seen their FLIR 1, I believe it's called, and it's like a snap-in case for your phone or a dongle that hangs off the bottom, and it gives you IR on your phone. And so we were looking at a lot of other applications for the near eye display, but we're looking right now at capturing these moments. You can go in and do potentially an inspection, or bring back that information about the specific moment or the specific part or the specific whatever you may be in the workplace, and be able to bring that back out. Right now, once again, we're just doing 32 gigabyte micro SD card, but our hardware supports Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and a near eye display for legacy systems that we can build onto this first product. So, just thinking about families, little kids, maybe today's the day they take the first step at a picnic and your camera's on the picnic table, but you're wearing your sunglasses because you're outside, or at the beach or any number of other places. So we think a lot of people in the community really want them for their kids, to do, they're up at bat
Right.
or, they're taking their first steps or first words. So, and then from workplace to families, I think would be those other applications beyond action sports.
Right. Yeah. And kids makes perfect sense because you obviously care a lot about your kids, but you don't care a lot about other people's. So if you can crop on the fly right there, that's the best part of having these things. So, all right, and so makes perfect sense. Sports, kids, and I'm sure there's any number of applications. Pretty standalone. So, oh, and talking more about the back end of it. To get them off of your, to get them off of the chip, you obviously take the card, plug it into your computer, or is there an app associated with this device? I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot in the, in the future we're planning on, but as for right now, how, what else is there besides just the camera and the storage card?
Right now, it's just up to you and whatever the user wants to use for their favorite apps or software or whatever they would use to download. We want to do a complete system and an app for Android and iOS, and we've got ROMs, rough order of magnitude proposals for the wireless interface and all of that to be written. It's just right now, so many times Kickstarter campaigns just get really ambitious on what they want to accomplish with their first product, and that's definitely one of the things that I've learned by partnering with SmartShape and USA Firmware is to just let's get something built that does the primary function right, and that's just capturing those moments. So that's where we're focused right now. And so you just have to pull the card out and put it into your computer or use an adapter for your mobile device. Unless you're, my tablet supports a micro SD card, so I can just put it right into there. But for like an Apple, I believe you would need to have your auxiliary dongle that would plug into your Lightning port.
Right. All right. And, and Bob, we're just about out of time. I mean, of course, like I said, computeramerica.com, in the show notes, we have a link to omniwearables.com. But if you want to send people, or if people want to find more about your company or the Kickstarter, where should they go?
Yeah, I would search on Kickstarter. It's Omni Wearable, and then omniwearables.com, or find us on Facebook and on Omni Wearables there too. So we've been fortunate and just created that site earlier this year, and we got up to 8,500 likes and followers pretty quickly. So we're just growing the community, and hoping people support us on Kickstarter, and then after, we'll just keep everybody updated and just keep growing the company and adding these new features that we talked about.
Right, yeah, and very, very well said. Everyone, please go check it out. This looks like a very cool product, and again, going to be launching here soon and shipping shortly after. So, Bob, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Omni Wearables, everyone, and please come back when when you have something else to announce. We'd love to have you back on.
That's fantastic. I appreciate the offer, and thanks for listening, everybody, and I appreciate your time, Ben.
All right, thank you so much, and everyone, we'll be right back. More Computer America just after this.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 31 minutes past the hour, and we continue on here as we just wrapped up with, of course, Omni Wearables. They are a company that makes sunglasses with a camera built into the stem or the legs of the camera. If you missed any part of that interview or you want to go back and check it out, please feel free to go to computeramerica.com, where we, of course, have a link to the website, or just head on over there, omniwearables.com. So, yeah, very, very cool, and happy to have them on. But now we are moving on to computer and technology news. And this is a segment where we go out and find the most interesting stories of the day and bring them to you. Try to keep you up to date on what's happening, what's new. And I think we're going to start here right now. So here we go, computer and technology. All right. And of course, computer and technology news is brought to you by Computer America. So I think for our first story, we're going to start with, of course, Intel. And I say, of course, Intel because, they have such a impressive lineup when it comes to processors. They have been the consumer space industry standard for a number of years. But AMD just recently came back on the scene, and they have their own line of mid-range processors that are very, very competitive. They look great. And they have a lot of cores, a lot of threads. So we're going to get into what that means, but Intel has definitely sat up and taken notice because they will be launching 18-core i9 chips. Right? Oh, just one second, folks. Sorry about that. But yeah, they'll be launching massive 18-core Core i9 chips to start a bloody battle for the enthusiast PC. And this coming from PC World, I don't know about the word bloody, but it definitely shows signs that, there is some competition over this space. So here we go, saying that with Core i9, the Intel versus AMD battle rages anew. Kinda. Where announced Tuesday at Computex, so today, Intel announced AMD's 16-core 32-thread Ripper. Threadripper, okay? And an 18-core 36-thread Monster microprocessor of its own. That is crazy. I mean, to put that into perspective, to put that into perspective, I think a lot of AMD for the past couple of years, like they maxed out at 12-thread, 24-core. That's kind of been, their sweet spot. I think they had some 16-thread cores, but, AMD has really been pounding on this multi-thread, multi-core processors for a while now. Whereas Intel, really the best you could get would be the Core i7, which were 4-core and 8-thread processors. And that's where Intel really captured the consumer space. And when you capture the consumer space to such a degree that Intel has, a lot of standards are built around what people own. And you go all the way down from the i3 to the i5 to the i7, where the i3 has like two cores, 4 threads, or the i5 has 4 cores and 8 threads, I believe, or maybe it's like 3 and 6 or something like that. But at any rate, a lot of programmers and a lot of hardware manufacturers, just everyone, really built the industry around the idea of having only really up to a maximum of 8 threads. Of course, there are other applications, and there have been other products, such as the Intel Xeon line of products, that have utilized 10 cores or 20 threads or even more than that for a long time. But at the same time, for the consumer space, that's just been it. So we're seeing here a fight for what they feel is the future of multi-threaded processing. And I think with Intel finally spurring the movement, where AMD has been doing this again for a while, but with Intel coming into the fray, we may start to see this actually making more sense, really, or really making a difference, because right now it's just not that important. So here we go, and let's start with the big news, saying that the top of the line, the best of the best processor in the Core i9 selection. And again, when we talk about the Core i9, i7s, things like that, we're talking about their high-end consumer products. There are, of course, others that's, well, I mean, to be fair, this one that we're about to talk about is not consumer, but this is actually, kind of like their Xeon line. They're for servers and, places where money doesn't matter as much. So the top of the line, the Core i9 Extreme Edition, the i9-7980XE, or what Intel calls the first teraflop desktop PC processor ever. First teraflop. My goodness. So, but the price is a little expensive, where you'll be paying just for the processor, and you are looking at $2,000, or $19.99. And when it ships later this year, and in a slightly lower tier, they said that the Core i9 X series chips in 16-core, 14-core, 12-core, and 10-core versions. So it goes all the way from 10-core all the way up to 18-core. And they say that all the prices go between $1,000 to $1,700. So for what they're calling the enthusiast line, but let's face it, that kind of processing power is pretty overkill. But I can see why they call it the enthusiast line. But it's between $1,000 all the way up to $2,000 just for the processor. Pretty standard, actually, if you consider the Xeon line of processors. It's just, I think with this new Core i9 designation, they're trying to bring that high thread count to a consumer audience, and it's easier to brand it with its existing its i3, 5, 7, and now 9 line of processors. I think this is more rebranding than it is kind of new technology. But at the same time, they say that they have Skylake base, which is kind of their current iteration, and they have achieved some increases, including 15% faster in single-threaded apps and 10% faster in multi-threaded tasks. That is, of course, using the latest hardware. So, and if these are too rich for your blood, as the article continues, they're saying that most of the Core i9 chips will incorporate what Intel calls there are 3 new Core i7s, right? And they are called the X series, priced from $340 to all the way up to $600. And a $242 quad-core i5 will also be announced. And all these chips are due in the coming week, so launching here shortly. But most of the Core i9 chips will incorporate what Intel calls an updated Intel Turbo Boost Max technology. And, I actually have Turbo Boost Max technology. I just recently upgraded my processor, and I have the 2.0. So and they're saying that it's a feature where the chip identifies not just one, but two cores as the best cores and makes them available to be dynamically overclocked to higher speeds and they'll be Optane ready with over 130 Optane ready motherboards waiting in the wings. Makes sense. Essentially, they're trying to take what overclockers have been doing for a while and trying to roll it into an automated system where the software essentially overclocks itself on the fly. And that's definitely good for people who don't want to be as enthusiast as I think some overclockers tend to be, because, it's getting it more plug and play ready, which is always good. So they're saying that if there's a catch, it's that the new chips are designed for the new socket R4, where this is a 2066 pin LGA socket, which is compatible with just one Intel chipset, which is, of course, their newest chipset. And that means that for a lot of motherboards out there, you have to buy the latest motherboard to take advantage of these processors. Otherwise, they just will not work. So Intel and AMD have a real fight going, saying that we'll wait and see who will end up on top, where with the Core i9, Intel's just staked an aggressive claim to the high end of the market, and AMD will now be forced to disclose the 14, 12, and 10 versions of its Threadripper parts as well as their prices. And Intel's laid down its cards, but the hand has yet to be played. Put a little bit of a spin on that. So they're, to kind of skip along here, they're saying that the speeds, and this is the real important part because this is what I was getting at, is for the longest time, Intel has had such a monopoly, and Intel has been so focused on not really bringing multi-threaded operations to the consumer space that a lot of applications that we know today, a lot of browsers, a lot of video games, a lot of word processors and things like that, they just don't simply run on a lot of cores. They run on 2 cores, maybe 4 cores if you're lucky. There's just really not a lot of speed. There's just really not a lot of advantage to developing software that can take advantage of, up until, well, really now with Intel and AMD kind of doing this, why would you design a product that could take advantage of, let's say, 30 cores when, 30 threads, when at the time, maybe 1% of the consumer space had CPUs that could even do something like that. It really didn't make sense. And I think for the next couple of years, it also won't make sense. Like until the bottom end of the spectrum, until the mid-range or bottom end of the spectrum starts getting more of these threads, more cores, it's going to pretty much stay the same. So you can buy one of these new Intel i9 X series with 32 threads, 16 cores, yada yada, which you think would have twice the computing power, which you'd be right, but only for applications that would take advantage of all 36 threads. The speed, in the meantime, is where you really need to point at, because individual core speed is what will affect your applications more than multiple threads. So they're saying that the speeds, they are all, or I'm sorry, for even like the $2,000 one, even the top of the top, they top out at about just over 4 gigahertz. So 4.1 for some, 4.2 for others, and of course you can overclock them, but that's out of the box. They're actually a little bit slower than the previous generation i7s. Make sense? Not really, but it's something you really need to take note of. So yeah, and it's the speeds are very important. definitely saying that's what you should definitely pay attention to, because even their top i9 7900X is still running at 4.5 gigahertz, and that's zero point 0.1 or zero point 0.2 gigahertz faster than the previous generation. But at the same time, it's not really going to justify, an extra $200, $700, $1,300, whatever it is you paid for it. You really have to, be one of these use cases to take full advantage of this card. So I think with all of that said, and we can get into the new chipsets and what do they mean, and things like that, and what you can really do with overclocking. But at the same time, just want to let you know that the Core i9 is indeed, well, the Core i9 is indeed on the market. Well, it will be here in a few weeks, and it was announced. But at the same time, expensive. You're going to be paying a lot for what I really feel is power not a lot of people are going to be able to utilize. Because again, I don't know how many people are going to be running either 10 different applications, or at the same time, one application that was specifically designed for hardware that only just now became available. It's certainly a small cross section, so really do your homework. All right, so with that one out of the way, why don't we jump into this next one? And I've been a huge fan of Twitch, by the way. Computer America, if you have signed up for a contest, you may see there Computer America has a Twitch channel. I kind of run that myself. It's we're planning on getting it up and running, and as video game development companies kind of come to us, we can play their games on Twitch and kind of harness the Twitch community and the Computer America community and play games dynamically on the fly, and everyone can watch and everyone can participate. But I am a huge fan of Twitch. There's a lot to like, and let me just pause all this here. There's a lot to like here, and one person is taking it a little bit further than most people. So this is from PC Gamer, and the title is "One Person is Letting Twitch Viewers Trade Stocks Using $50,000 of his own money." That's right. So for anyone out there who may not have heard of the phenomena, it's called Twitch Plays, and it's a whole series of different kinds of games pushed by different people. But essentially, Twitch chat, or the viewers of the stream are able to control what happens within the game usually. And we've seen it with Pokemon, we've seen it with Dark Souls, we've seen it with many other applications. But this is a first where they're letting, right now, you can go and check it out, 2,000 different people are all voting, talking, and manipulating this program into investing $50,000. $50,000 in in a lot of different ways. So here we go, saying that they're saying that as StockStream has just started its first day of trading, letting Twitch viewers vote for which stock to purchase and sell using a whopping $50,000 from the wallet of StockStream's owner, which is a software developer named Mike. And they said that they were able to get down and interview Mike, and that he let Twitch handle his stock portfolio, saying it's basically the same concept as Twitch plays games, but with stock trading. And he's created an interface that shows a live stream of the Robinhood app, so you can see in real time the graph of value of all the assets and cash. That's right. So yeah, it's of course pretty darn funny, saying that like any Twitch plays game, the instructions are straightforward. During a 5-minute period, viewers can vote on which stock to buy or which stocks to sell. And they said that, once the 5-minute round is up, the most popular votes are tallied and executed automatically by the program. Mike has even set up scoring system to rate Twitch viewers' stock strategies based on the return on the investment. So if you are if you are really good and you participate and you make a lot of good decisions, your point system will go up or down depending on how good you do. So the stream will automatically start and close with the stock market, and the first stream having started today and will be ending, that means here, in just about a few minutes. Mike doesn't have much of an idea of what to expect, but plans to keep the stream going until he runs out of money, saying that this is all just my money, said that I saved up, and as for who benefits, it'll just be me. And he says, I'm taking all the risk here. So the money is not distributed to fans or viewers or anything like that, but it's a pretty good, and again, if you're watching the video stream, we actually have it up and running, where you can see it here. And as of this moment, he's up $62. Not too bad. Not too bad. So they're saying that, saying that while he is putting $50,000 into the portfolio at start, Twitch viewers will have to keep the portfolio valued at over $25,000 in order to continue trading due to regulations imposed by the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. Saying that still, that's a lot of money to be placing in the hands of internet strangers. And he says that it's one of the most bizarre twists on Twitch plays that we've seen, but the idea isn't Mike's. Saying that through a similar iteration have existed before, Mike originally got a post from Wall Street Bets subreddit about 5 months ago. He's just the first person to feel comfortable putting some actual money on the line. So, of course, you can check it out, and you can go to Twitch and see the stream live, but as of this moment, I think this is hilarious. This is hilarious, letting strangers on the internet control your stock, control your stock portfolio. And yeah, so we'll keep an eye on this. We'll see what happens. We'll see how long he can keep it going. But that's the one thing about Hive mentality is that, and really that's kind of the impetus behind Twitch Plays Games, is fill a room with infinite monkeys and infinite typewriters. Eventually, you're going to get Shakespeare. That's essentially Twitch, and that is essentially Twitch chat, where I think if you put enough Twitch chat viewers in the same room, you will get Shakespeare. And I'm hoping for his sake, he gets Shakespeare, because right now, hey, $60 thanks to Twitch viewers. All right. So that was a very, very interesting story. And again, I can't wait to see how it's doing in a couple of days, in a couple of weeks, because man, that's a different one. So at any rate, let's see what else can we talk about here. How about this one? This one caught my eye because I am not the hugest fan of a very simple household chore, and that is folding laundry. Laundry machines, they have made it so easy. You can wash them, you can dry them. It takes, only an hour or two. It's never been simpler. But at the same time, it's very annoying to fold laundry. Like, I have a friend who simply hangs everything. He hangs t-shirts. He hangs his pants. He hangs, I don't think his underwear, but he's probably getting to that point. I mean, it's really ridiculous how much people don't like folding laundry. Well, someone has made a robot to fix all that. And the only problem, it only costs you about $16,000. Maybe folding the laundry isn't too bad, but control this insane $6,000 laundry folding robot with just your voice. That is the name of the article. It's coming from Engadget and Ms. Swampna Krishna. And saying, get this is why I really picked it up, because the name is hilarious. Laundroid. Instead of Android, Laundroid. Hilarious. I love it. So, the Laundroid will respond to limited voice control through integration with Cerevo's Lumigent Desk. And it's been a while since we've heard about Laundroid, where it's the laundry folding robot that will make lazy people. And now, parent company Seven Dreamers has announced a new partnership that can make your laundry-related life even easier. I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that a lot. So let's so they're saying that Seven Dreamers is partnering with Cerevo, a company that focuses on Internet of Things and connected devices in Japan and across the world. So to bring the voice control technology to Laundroid. But here's the catch. As of the announcement date, Alexa, Siri, Google, and Google Assistant are not available to work with Laundroid. Instead, it will work with the Cerevo's Lumigent, a desk lamp that responds to voice control. I don't like the sound of that, but they're saying that the Lumigent lights up automatically when spoken to, and the integration will enable Lumigent to command the basic Laundroid operations. Of course, if you want the added functionality, the lamp itself costs between $400 and $700. But I feel like if you're spending almost $16,000 on a folding robot, you might have $400 to spend on a lamp as well. So they're saying that's adding insult to injury. Like I said, the first run units are expensive, which is, they are priced at almost 2 million yen, which is roughly $17,000. And that the company is accepting limited reservations for units in Japan starting today. So they're saying that and the article wraps up by saying that at such a high price point, it doesn't seem like it should be asking too much to work with some of the big ones, including Siri and Alexa. And yeah, I'm sure future integrations, they will certainly do that. But as of this moment, the Laundroid will set you back $17,000 and no, you cannot control it with your smartphone. That's a deal breaker, as if the price tag wasn't, but very, very cool nonetheless. All right, and we had a couple other stories here I really wanted to get to that we just aren't really going to have time for. We can kind of jump into this one, where anyone out there who's a fan of Apple and their MacBook Pro, well, Apple hints that you should wait to buy that MacBook Pro, saying that it might be launching new Macs at WWDC, which is the Worldwide Developer Conference, and typically free shipping times for 15-inch MacBook pre-orders have slipped from same day to 3 to 5 business days in many countries, pushing deliveries to June 6 or later, which is conveniently the day after the WWDC. And there aren't any delays for the 13-inch model, but it's not clear whether it's due to more bountiful supply or a lack of planned updates. All right. So if the rumors are accurate, there won't be any major external changes. This would be a classic speed bump with new processors and other possible under-the-hood improvements, which isn't surprising when the current design isn't even a year old. Makes sense. But you could also see MacBook Pro support up to 32 gigs of RAM, addressing a pain point for pros who struggle with the current 16 gig limit. And however, the very fact that there's an update so relatively soon is notable by itself, saying that it's not necessarily proof that Apple has renewed its commitment to the Mac. However, it definitely suggests that the days of agonizingly long update intervals could be over, and that there was a year and a half between the old MacBook Pro and the current model. And if a refresh arrives at the WWDC, it will only have been just over half a year. And while we wouldn't expect updates to always show up that quickly, Apple may well be keeping pace with the latest CPU technology. All right. So again, Apple kind of hints that if you are looking at a MacBook Pro and you want the newest, the latest and greatest,
90 seconds.
well, if you wait a week, there might be a new latest and greatest. So always worth keeping an eye out for. All right, and that is just about all the time we have here on Computer America. I want to thank one more time our guest who we had on, who was embarrassingly slipping. Omni Wearables. That's right. They make glasses with cameras in them. If you miss any part of the interview or the first half of the show, please go back and check it out. It was a lot of fun.
60
and
seconds.
Looking forward to having him back on. So for everyone else out there, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all had a great long weekend and you are ready to enjoy, let's face it, a short week here on Computer America. And check out our website, check out our contest, check out our social media, and we'll be back here tomorrow, where tomorrow on the program we will be having on, let me get this right, Mr. Dick DiBartolo. Who saw that coming? Everyone did. Dick DiBartolo, he is Mad Magazine's maddest writer, the GizWiz, and longtime Computer America correspondent. Check it out, same time, same place, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. See you then. Bye-bye, everyone.
10 seconds.